Diljit Dosanjh is currently doing a massive tour at the moment. It looks insane. I've seen so many clips. He's called it the DIL Illuminati tour.
Yeah.
Couple people have like questioned the name. What do you think of the DIL Illuminati tour name?
Well, the name is obviously controversial, and that's exactly why I think he did it. Online, a lot of people have spoken about whether he's part of the Illuminati and all of that stuff. What's your take on that?
I mean, obviously, if you see someone naming their tour DIL Illuminati, of course you're going to think, oh, they're probably part of the Illuminati. It does raise questions, but you know, online I did see a podcast from the Ranveer show, TRS Clips, and he was on that podcast speaking about the whole situation, the whole name of the tour, and he basically said that he's not part of the Illuminati, so he confirmed that. But it is a bit of a crazy thing to name your tour.
I don't think it is. I think it makes sense. I think it's like gets everyone talking. I think the guy has had so much success, especially in recent years, that like he feels like he can almost maybe mimic or joke about those kind of things. Even in that podcast, he talks about, you know, the fact that he's kind of flattered that people think that he's actually like capable of being part of that establishment, which again is a bit strange. I get where you're coming from. What I would say is when it comes to technically dancing with the devil, I'd say, or playing with those devilish things, I don't know. I'm not saying that he's out here doing that intentionally, but to some extent you are, because when you sit there and say, I don't know, I don't believe in evil things. However, I'm going to use words and phrases from evil things. Then you're kind of fueling your brand with evil things.
Yeah.
So you're kind of dancing with the devil, so to speak, or you're playing with it. When you do reach a certain level, people do naturally assume that you are part of this high society. A lot of people question whether this high society is evil. But he seems really relaxed about it when he speaks about it on the podcast that we saw. And he jokes about it. You know, what's your opinions on that?
Yeah, I think him joking about it and the way he speaks about it kind of just shows that he's not really fazed by comments that from people that are saying it. He thinks it's funny, or he's actually flattered by it rather than, you know, thinking of it as a negative thing. And I think he's probably maybe used that tour name as a marketing strategy. But I wouldn't say he's part of it just because he's named his tour that. I think he clearly says it in the podcast, and he also says that he doesn't actually believe in an evil side. He just believes in one God, one side. He doesn't think there's an evil side and a good side, or an evil side and a God. He explains that in the podcast, so that's quite interesting as well.
That's an interesting take, actually, because I guess what he's trying to get at is that he believes there's one God, obviously, one creator.
Yeah.
And that creator has also created bad things as much as good things.
Yeah.
Or more so, bad things are there because of the good things, but it all comes from one place, which makes sense as well. But then again, that opens up a whole different conversation about evil and playing with evil things, whether it's words, whether it's symbols, whether it's, you know, stage presence. You know, we see it with so many artists now. They have this kind of stage presence, and they have these almost, you call them subliminals, where they might have certain symbols that, and people start talking about
it.
It's, and I think it exists. I think like there is a certain element of evil that exists on this planet, and a lot of the time I feel like it's almost unintentional. So it's like you're almost believing in evil things, and you almost don't even realize it.
Yeah.
And that for me is even more crazy. And you know, I don't think that's his intention. I would never think that's Diljit's intention. I think Diljit Dosanjh is an artist. I think he makes music to make people happy. That's very evident in the lyrics and what he puts out there. But yeah, it is an interesting name to have for a tour for sure.
Yeah.